Welcome to another fantastic live production of Small Business Celebration Meat and Potatoes, the show where we dive deep on one particular subject with our guests. And if you haven't liked and subscribed Small Business Celebration, this is a great opportunity to do it, help promote the show, and keep you updated on all future episodes, both live and recorded. And today we're going to be talking about unique marketing ideas for your business. But we couldn't do the show without our presenting sponsor and our location sponsor today. At Oliver & Associates Real Estate, we know that buying or selling a home isn't just a transaction, it's a life moment. That's why they're committed to building relationships that last. They take the time to truly understand your needs, your dreams, your stories, so they can find you not just a house, but a home. Give Oliver & Associates a call at 661-808-3444 or check them out at yourrealtor.us today. Today's Meat and Potatoes live episode location is brought to you by Modern Gigi Gallery, an ultra-modern art gallery located in downtown Bakersfield, California, featuring the artworks of the modern abstract artist Johnny Ramos. Whether you're looking for artwork for your office, your home, or a postcard that you can send as a thank you note, go to Modern Gigi Gallery, located at 900 18th Street in Bakersfield, or give them a call at 661-840-8729, or email them at art@moderngigi.com today. Welcome, Visionaries, to our live episode of Small Business Celebration Meat and Potatoes. And our guest this week is Kevin Oliver, the owner of Oliver & Associates. Welcome to Small Business Celebration's Meat and Potatoes.
Thank you, Michael. I'm glad to always be here.
And we're going to be talking today about unique marketing ideas for business owners and their small business. This is something you are really good at, because in the last year, in general volume, how many houses did you sell?
Oh gosh, myself or the team?
Well, let's start with you.
I on average do 20 to 30 a year.
Okay, and in millions of dollars, that's?
I'm usually 5 to 6 million. On the team, we do anywhere from 20 to 30 million, depending.
You can't have that kind of volume of sales without somebody knowing about you.
Yeah, they need to know. They need to know about you.
And you don't do billboards.
No, I've done them in the past.
Right, and
yes.
you don't do television.
I have done it in the past.
You do advertise on very successful and influential YouTube channels and podcasts.
Absolutely.
Yes, Visionaries. Yes, this is the same guy as our title sponsor. But what you're really effective at is getting the boots on the ground and getting that word of mouth.
It's the networking, yeah.
And what are some of the tools of the trade? Because you do things that are absolutely out of the box for a lot of business owners, and yet these are all things that are not completely unattainable.
No, not at all.
So what are some of the things that you like to do? Like, for example, everybody's got a business card.
Absolutely. And I actually have some examples.
Okay.
So, I have 3 different business cards.
Okay.
And people are like, why do you have 3 different business cards?
Right.
Well, remember, in one of our last episodes stuff, I have a second area that I work in. Okay, so I work on the coast as well as here. Well, I have my normal 661 cards.
All right.
Here that has
it up to Visionary Nation.
Yeah, that's my normal card.
Perfect. There we go.
And then I have the same card, but it's got a different phone number on it.
Oh.
It has an 805 number. Now, I use, my carrier goes ahead and allows me to have 2 different phone numbers, and it costs me like $10 extra.
Really?
That's it. And I can have 2 different phone numbers, and it goes into my main number.
How do you keep these separated? Because they look like almost identical.
They do. I have to look at the phone number.
You have to be smarter than the card.
And then, of course, since I have a luxury division, I have a high profile card that's gold leaf and has my 805 number, but does not have a picture either on it. So
why is the non-picture so important?
It just makes it a little bit more luxury. Most of your luxury cards are not going to have agent pictures. I don't want it to think of it as a real estate agent's picture. It's a luxury card.
And for visionaries who are not in the real estate market, where's the dividing line between luxury real estate and the rest of us?
Yeah. Well, luxury. Well, we normally see considered luxury at $1 million and above, but
in California.
Yeah, but I'm going to explain this. So typically it's 3 times the median home value. So our median home value here is $400,000.
Okay.
So 1.2 million would be and above. Here would be our luxury.
And
now,
yet, like in Orange County and LA.
Yeah, in Orange County. But say you go to San Luis Obispo.
Okay.
San Luis Obispo, the median home value is about 1.2.
That's just for a normal house.
Yes.
Okay.
So your luxury is going to be probably 3.6 and above, 4 million and above.
Right. And, you're dealing with a totally different clientele.
Absolutely.
Now, reaching your target audience is important, but you take your regular business cards and you also do something really special with them.
I do. I have my bag of tricks here.
He's got all kinds of toys.
I have a bag of tricks. So I have, when I'm doing shows, a lot of times, we'll lay these out and we have the key to your home.
Oh, look at that.
And so
right
it's a
there.
business
Look
card
there.
that we lay out on the table with other things that we have. And I have a whole bag of stuff that I love. And so I
have to go back to this though. This key is brilliant.
Yeah, and it's just a little hole punch, a little twine, and a key that I ordered on Amazon.
Wow, and how long does it take you to manufacture this?
And I sit in the evening, watch our little TV with my wife, and we just sit there and do it.
Oh, now I know what you're really doing when you're watching our show. He's making these. That's
there
exactly
you go.
Okay.
So, but yeah, there's those kind of things. But and we do postcards. This is all print media.
Right.
Okay, and we haven't even gotten into the social media or any of the other stuff or the branding stuff. But this is our Christmas card that we send out every year, and it has stuff on the front and the back. And I send out 5 postcards a year. I send out 1 a quarter that talks about spring or winter and how to maintenance your house. And then, of course, this is our Christmas card that goes out. And it also goes with, and I don't have one of these, I have one of our calendars, which is probably one of our most popular items.
Right.
And I order these, and it's usually, it's a calendar, obviously, and it hangs on your refrigerator.
Right.
And it usually has like healthy meals, or one year we did desserts.
Who are you targeting with this?
And it's you want the wife in this particular one, because the wife is the one typically makes the decisions.
Okay. So if your face and your contact information is on the refrigerator, you're the one she remembers.
I had one couple, and his name is Tom, and his wife unfortunately has passed on now, but I sold several of their homes. And I remember the last time Tom, I'm going to say his name is Tom, and he was in a walker. He's gotten older, and he had like 7 of my calendars on his walker when I walked in. He had saved them over the years. And he says, and he told his daughter, you have to call Kevin, and he handed her my calendars.
Right.
And this is how this business keeps going.
Now, I want to point out a couple things very important on both of these cards. And it's the card here with the key on it, and it's his luxury real estate card. Because what you have done is, especially this card with a key on it, you can't put this in your wallet.
No.
Why is this important?
Go ahead.
Well, this is why I'm asking you, because if you can't put this in your car, if you can't put this in your wallet, where do you put it?
It's going to be wherever you want to keep something that's special.
There it is.
Yeah.
So where do most people that you give this to, where do they put it?
If they don't throw it away.
Exactly. That's it. They don't.
Yeah.
So they remember you.
So they remember you, but they will take it, and it's usually going into on a desk, usually, or at home somewhere. They'll pin it up somewhere.
This card for your luxury real estate weighs 2 to 3 times.
Yeah, it's very heavy, very thick, very silk.
Why is that important?
Because you want to promote luxury, excellence. You want that when I hand you a card, it's a statement. Because you're dealing with a higher level of professional, typically. Right. It's usually somebody in the C category or somebody that's very successful business owner. Right. These people make millions a year.
But do they put this in their wallet?
Sometimes they do, but typically they will give it to their assistant.
There it is.
And their assistant categorizes it or puts it up somewhere where they can access it.
Now, your healthy food calendar.
Yes.
You were talking about it.
That's probably our most successful.
That's why you don't have any.
Yeah.
That's why you don't have any right now.
Yeah.
But where do you normally put them?
On the refrigerator.
And so most people put it on the refrigerator. But why healthy food? Because it could be the top 10 best recipes.
Sure. We could do all of those.
Right.
We could do, and I have.
Right.
I was just thinking about last year's, which was the healthy food
Right,
one.
sure.
I think the one before that was desserts. So, but healthy, and we did one for salads.
Okay, so you don't
salads.
do the same thing.
No, it's different every year.
Now, you've got in your hand
I have a couple of things.
Right. The pens are the thing that everybody gives away.
Everybody gives away business cards and pens. And mine's nothing really different either. It has my name, my company name, my website, my DRE number, because as realtors, we have to put our DRE numbers on.
Which is DRE for those of us.
It's the Department of Real Estate. We're state licensed.
So you're showing that you're a licensed realtor.
Licensed realtor.
You can be almost
and
trusted
we're
with somebody's money,
mandated to put those on any kind of, on our electronic media, on our print media, we have to have that DRE number.
Okay.
Anytime we present to a client. So what I do that's different than most people with my pens, I'll grab a handful of them anytime I go out to lunch, and I hand them to the waitresses. And they love it.
Right, because they're always looking for a pen.
I go to the bartenders, and I hand it to the bartenders.
Nice.
Because the bartenders will use it, and what are they doing?
Right.
Giving it to the clients.
And the clients are kleptomaniacs?
Absolutely. You know how many pens I've stolen from bars? and they take the pens.
There we go. There we go.
Are.
And this has a stylus on it.
It does. It's a stylus.
It's got the pen. Black ink, probably.
Yeah, but that's blue, actually.
Smart.
Because you can sign documents.
Well, that's it, exactly. Because usually you get black, and black is useless.
Yeah.
Brilliant. And now what do you have in your hand?
This is funny, and the women love this, especially your older women.
Okay.
And this is a fan, and it pops open like this, and it has our logo.
Right.
Now, the logos are very important because you have branding and you have marketing.
Right.
Logos are considered branding. Your name is your brand. And that's more long-term because that's your reputation. That's, who are you?
Right.
And then when you're doing marketing, that's, like you're doing a social media ad or you're doing a postcard that goes out. That's all looking for leads and sales.
Right.
So that's that. This is a little bit of both.
Now, you have an absolutely wonderful story, and for full disclosure, Visioneer Nation, I was there when he tells this story about these
He was there. You were there, and we were at the Hispanic Chamber, Kern County Hispanic Chamber, and the ACs went out.
It was a mixer.
It was a big mixer.
Right.
And so there was vendors, there was tons of people, and the ACs went out, and it was 100 and some odd degrees outside.
Right.
So it was very warm in there.
Plus it was packed.
It was packed. So I went out to my car and pulled out 200 of these fans that I happened to have in my car, and I passed them out to everybody, and they were all going like this.
Now, if you were just to speculate,
and just to final up on that, Jay, the president, came back to me and says, "Kevin, those fans were a hit. Thank you." And the thing is that you can fold these right back up like this. You put it in this little pouch that's here, and the women can throw it right in their purse. They love this.
If you were to speculate,
second most popular item.
Producer Emily, she just got one. If you were to speculate, how much business do you think you've gotten just on the calendars alone?
Oh gosh, millions.
The business card, the one here with the key on it?
Yeah.
How much business do you think you've got?
Oh, I have no idea, but because I don't know of anybody that's called me and said, "I got your card with the key." I'd have to say a number of transactions.
Right, because it's different.
It's different than anybody else.
Now, one of the things that you do that's different is, and I don't know, Visioneer Nation, if you've run into this too, But you can go through a whole bunch of different events and you can volunteer, and people will volunteer for a shirt. And as a business owner, you want to go through and you want to participate in these events. You want to do good in the community. You want people to know and brand your business. But how do you get your shirt that somebody wears for one day and then goes ahead and wears that shirt when they're mowing the lawn and nobody will ever see it again? What do you do? Because you do something differently.
I do. Well, I have our normal shirts, which we have here. This is our normal Oliver and Associates shirt, okay? And it has our logo in the front. This is the back. And, but what we do, and you're going to
there's the front, there's the front.
So it's just your standard shirt. And I hand these out to special folks when we have them. But what I do also is sometimes we sponsor events. And on this one particular one, we sponsored the Bakersfield Police Department. And we went up, our whole team went up to 5 dogs with BPD, all their specialized team. We had their canine unit, their bomb unit, their the ones with the drones and everything. And we sponsored their event, their lunch. We brought up a whole taco truck up there. And I printed up T-shirts. And this has the police logo here, and it has a badge in the front with our logo. And if you want to show it, you have to take it off. I don't know if you can get it off there or not. Yeah, but other than that, it's and what we did is the sergeant, I think it was the sergeant of their bomb squad, or no, it was of their SWAT team. Excuse me, handed me a stack of challenge coins, and it had that. And I'm like, ooh, I like these. And that gave me an idea.
Yeah.
And I made a challenge coin for Oliver and Associates.
Nice.
So I'm able to challenge each of our leaders, our different people. And it's only special people. I think like 50 of them.
Right.
And they've all been handed out.
Right.
So if they have one and they come back to us, we will pay for their escrow fee every time they buy a house. That's not just once, for the rest of their life.
Wow. I want to circle back real quick to this shirt.
Yeah.
Because this is one way that you can go through, and in this case, in your case, you've selected the Bakersfield Police Department.
Yeah, we were invited to go up there, and we got to make bombs and blow things up. It was great.
A good time had my own. Exactly. But this, you could go through and you could do Links for Life, you could go to March of Dimes, et cetera.
Anything, I always say get involved.
Right.
Get involved in your community, whatever your passion is. My passion happens to be at-risk youth.
Right.
This is why I sit on the board of the Police Activities League. Law enforcement, stuff like that is near and dear to my heart. That's why we had the BPD. And that rolls me right into my next thing that I love doing. And I have...
This one's color-coded, by the way.
It is color-coded. I have 3 different color of cards that I hand out. One is orange, one is blue, and one is red. Okay?
The envelopes?
And what I do off of each one of these is that this is all for our first responders, okay? And I have a specialized landing page for our first responders.
Which is?
Your fire, your police, your EMTs.
But you can't let Vision Your Nation on the lurch there. What's the website?
It's, good Lord. I have to read this here. It says myrealestate911.com.
There you go.
And basically what I do is I have a prayer card for each one of them. One for the police, one for the fire, one for our EMTs. And it's their specific prayer for them. And I also put a Starbucks card in each one of them.
Why is this important?
Huh?
Why is this important?
Our first responders do a lot for us. And I know when I go into a Starbucks or I go into any coffee shop, whether it be Cafe Smitten or anything, and there's any law enforcement in there, heaven forbid they ever pay. They will never pay when I'm standing there. I will always pay for them, whether it's the fire, the guys from the fire, men and women of that, police, sheriffs, I don't care who it is. All first responders, I take care of them. I don't care what it is. But this is something that I hand out to them personally. when I'm going in and I hand them a card and I said, God bless you, be safe.
And that brings us to the fortune cookie game. Now, Visioneers, if you're not familiar with the way the fortune cookie game works, I have a fully wrapped fortune cookie, sealed fortune cookie here in my hand. I have no idea what the fortune in which it contains is, but more importantly, neither does our guest. And our guest has to take said fortune cookie, unseal it, break open the fortune cookie, read the fortune aloud, and add "in my business" at the end of it, and elaborate. And we would much prefer if you would eat the fortune cookie while you got to read it.
I've always been told that you have to eat the fortune cookie or a piece of it
while you're reading it. Exactly.
Well, your fortune won't come true.
There it is. There it is.
And I do need my glasses.
He's blind
I
without
can't read these.
Okay.
All right. Oop, let me put this up. Oh, I like this one.
Okay.
Success and wealth are in your future. In my business.
Nice. How so? How so? How is wealth and success going to be forthcoming in your business?
Oh, on a wing and a prayer.
Emphasis on the prayer part.
But you know what? It all comes from hard work, and I always say that in real estate isn't a job; it's a lifestyle. And that, everybody's always thinking, and a lot of the folks that are out there, oh, I want my commission, or I want the transaction. That's mainstream coaching.
Right.
That's talking about that.
Right.
And that's the wrong thinking. It's all about relationships. And that's what a lot of this is all about, the marketing and branding towards relationships and building those relationships, because I truly believe it's relationships over transactions. Transactions and commissions are a byproduct.
Right.
It's the relationships that you have to have. And that's what this marketing and branding, on my shirt, I have vests, I have, stuff like that we brand. And when I asked some of my realtors, I says, who are you known as when you walk in a room?
Right.
Are you known as the person that works at Lowe's? Or are you known as a person that runs a successful YouTube place, podcast? Or are you known as somebody in real estate? And when I walk in a room, oh, he's in real estate.
Just out of curiosity, I'm putting you on the spot.
Okay.
On this. Repeat business is king.
Absolutely, and referrals.
What's the record that you've got for the same person buying multiple properties from you?
17.
17! Holy cow! And that comes from relationships and the rapport that you build with people. Now, Visioneers, as you know, especially from the main show, we take questions from Visioneers just like you. And this past weekend, I got to do something I very seldom do: sleep. And after I woke up from my slumber, I started going through the Visioneer questions that had been backing up and piling up. And one of the questions that came in was very intriguing, very astounding, and it was something that we had completely overlooked here at Small Business Celebration. If you've been watching the live show, you know of this person, but if you've been watching the main show without the live show, not so much so more. So fear not, Visioneer Nation, with an upcoming episode, we're going to be fixing that. I'd like to introduce to you the person who is smarter than me in so many different ways. She goes through and she asks questions that I wouldn't even think of. She's that very special producer, Emily, who is that woman that we see on the main show? Who's that blonde hair? So with that, let's bring on producer Emily.
And Questions by Emily is sponsored by Cazador Consulting. Need elite talent to grow your team? Cazador Consulting Group in Bakersfield is your go-to partner in staffing and direct hires. They don't just fill jobs, they build lasting partnerships by listening to your needs and delivering top-tier customer service. At Cazador, mutual success isn't a goal, it's the standard. This is more than staffing, it's building your team so you can build your business. Visit CazadorConsultingGroup.com or call 877-800-4622. That's CazadorConsultingGroup.com or 877-800-4622, and let's build your future together.
Hello everyone, I'm producer Emily. I have questions by Emily on this segment, but you've probably seen me in the B-roll of the actual main show. But here we are in the live show, and I've got questions. If you've got questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. I have the chat open the entire time, so I'm looking up, looking down, and all around. But if you've got questions, feel free to let us know. But starting off, so actually, I guess this kind of does segue into digital media and stuff. But you talked about in the very beginning with Michael that in the past you've done billboards, in the past you've done TV, media. How do you decide what to continue doing, what to change up, how long you should do something for? Like your calendars, for example, has been going on for years, but I'm sure you haven't had the same billboard up for a long time.
You know
how do you find that cycle?
A lot of times it's trial and error. I'll take a look at what, and it's not just in my industry. I work with a lot of other successful business owners, and we'll sit down in a little round table a lot of times and say, well, what do you do? And well, we did this campaign, or we did this. Well, how did that work for you? Or
so
what did you not?
Back and
we're
forth.
bouncing things back and forth, especially in our BNI or in a few of the other networking groups. Because I'm a big networker. That is one of my big things that I love in regards to networking and branding. And matter of fact, I had a client call me the other day and says, "Hey, I have this cousin you may know, such and such, such and such. He says he sees you everywhere."
I guess it's a good thing.
Yeah, I know. And I laughed and I said, "Well, that's good."
But how's that not competition then?
Competition in regards to?
Well, if you're all sitting together chatting about like, well, I do this, I do that. I mean, I'm sure you've seen other people.
The thing is that I don't care, yes, you can probably throw a rock and hit 10 realtors, but there's enough business out there for everybody. And you have to remember there's the 80-20 rule.
Yeah.
And in this particular case, probably the ones that are very successful or whatever, it's probably less than 5%. Of the realtors that are out there. The average realtor, I think this is a NAR statistic, makes less than $40,000.
A year?
A year.
Oh wow!
And,
I think we have this notion they make a lot.
I'm well in the six figures every year. So it's, but I have multiple areas and team members.
But you continue to grow.
Yeah.
Well, and that just goes to show that we don't have to be afraid to help each other. Because you've clearly helped lots of people.
And I don't think that anybody should be, are there, certain things that I do that I would say, I want to try first before, oh, hey, I tried this, but, because there's a coaching program that I'm working on right now. We're going to be doing some heavy, internet advertising and stuff like that. And we do that in our business as well.
Well, and how do you know how much social media is enough or too much? Because a lot of people ask us about social media.
That's a great question. You know what? I mean, there are people out there that are posting like every hour.
That's a lot.
Yeah. And then there's the ones that like never post. and those are your extremes. I think as a real estate professional, you should be posting at least once a day.
Okay.
Once a day.
Top of mind.
Top of mind. I try to do, there's some days I miss, I'm terrible. But I'm several times a week. I'm on social media quite a bit. Or I have people that are tagging me on certain things as well. So, because I have a large following on Facebook. I am growing on Instagram.
And are you the one posting, or do you have your associates do it?
I've done both.
Because a lot of business owners ask that question.
Yeah, I had an assistant at one point, and I don't right now, just because I'm transitioning on a few things. But probably this next year I'm going to be looking for an assistant.
So it's worth it to hire someone to help.
Yeah, and I want somebody with me, usually younger, because I'm old.
What does this do?
What's this? What's a cell phone? Yeah. But actually, I come from a technical background, so I'm kind of hip on that.
Yeah.
But,
well, you were showing us things earlier.
I know.
Like, well, if you press that button, I was like, oh, thanks, Kevin. Now I know.
There you go. But no, it's very important. You have a lot of print and T-shirts and things like that. Branding and stuff. But social media, and I always say, pick 2 social medias and get really, really good at them. I usually suggest for real estate, Facebook and Instagram.
Why 2?
Just so that you can have two different platforms, because you're going to get different people on those platforms.
I see. So one's kind of slim.
Yeah, because you got to remember, Facebook is typically for your older folks like me. Okay, Instagram, probably. Well, you're probably TikTok also. Hey, TikTok. See, I don't even know.
TikTok.
I'm not on.
Yeah.
I actually have a TikTok account, but I'm not on there. But the ones that I do usually is Instagram, Facebook, and I do some LinkedIn because of my business sides. So there's different platforms for different resources. LinkedIn is more business related.
Okay.
Instagram is, I think, is the one that's going to be really hopping right now for buyers to get to know you, and because we need to do more video. So that's why I'm doing a lot of video. I get on there and I've had a lot of good rapport where I'm doing my tours of homes where I'm saying, hey, this is Kevin Oliver or the Oliver Associates Real Estate
Everyone
Team.
loves a tour. I mean, that's why HGTV is so popular.
I know, and then I'll talk about the property and I said, hey, let's go take a look. And I go through the property and stuff, and we have little things that pop up and stuff talking about the property, and it's usually luxury that we're showing.
Okay.
But yeah, I've done both here in Bakersfield and in Pismo, or on the coast.
And I had a question about those luxury clients, because I know at one point, right, you're transitioning your business cards to having a picture to not having a picture.
Yeah.
Why is it that your luxury clients you're not giving your picture out to? You would think it would be backwards, right? That you would want to emphasize
usually
more.
when you have your picture on your card, it's not thought of as luxury. Luxury is it's a little bit of, sometimes. But it's my yacht and my this and my dinner and a lot of times with the picture, yeah, it is, but it's not portrayed on the print media as luxury, and so I want to take away me, and I just want the business. This is the business. We're here as a team, as a consultants, and I take a consultative look at what can we do for you, and especially for our luxury clients. When we get calls, hey, do you know a good plumber? Or on that side, it's basically, where do you like to eat? What kind of wines are good? What are this? And I'm more of a concierge on that business. They're like, what is a good restaurant for a good steak or a good seafood restaurant? What wines would we pair with that? That's why I'm a sommelier.
So it's
also
knowing your clients.
Knowing my clients.
When you're a level what sommelier?
2 right now. I'm working on my 3.
Out of 4, right?
Out of 4.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm working on my advanced sommelier right now. So I can usually get things pretty well right.
And does having that kind of a talent aid then in helping your customers in that you're able to relate with different people of all audiences? Absolutely,
and wine is really great. I have found that a lot of my clients drink wine, and I'm getting known as a som. So they say, hey, I'll get a call, Kevin. We're going to go have fish tonight. And, well, all right, what kind of fish? And I'll say, all right, pair that with a Sauvignon Blanc, or something out of New Zealand, or maybe something out of Santa Barbara if they want a little bit more fruity Sauvignon Blanc.
So you become more than just the person selling their house.
Exactly. I become, that's that relationship that you're handing out all these cards and you're doing this. That's great, but you've got to build that relationship.
That's the key right there.
Yeah.
And then you also mentioned earlier job versus lifestyle. So this is a lifestyle for you, not just a job.
It is.
And it can be very easy for business owners, or anyone working in business for that matter, to see something as, well, it's just my job.
Yeah.
And the passion comes out of it.
And I came out of corporate America, and that's why I got into real estate. I fell into real estate, but I hated going to work. I hated my job. And when I got into real estate, I changed my mindset, because you have to have a change of mindset to be really successful. And I coined one of the phrases that I coined a lot of is, real estate is not a job, it's a lifestyle. And I've said that for decades. And I truly, to the core of my, bottom of my heart, believe that. The core of my soul believe that it's a lifestyle. And I had a client come to me today, it's a commercial client. And they call me, hey Kevin, we need you to evaluate our building, da 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 da. And I said, okay. And I said, well, I said, can I get to it later on this week or maybe the first part of next week? And they're like, hi, what's going on? And I says, well, I'm on vacation. They're like, oh my God, I'm so sorry to bother you. And I says, no. I said, it's not a problem. And I said, I don't have a problem. It's, I always believe it's not a job, it's a lifestyle. I will answer your calls. I took a call from my assistant at the time when I was in Dublin, Ireland. And I was over there and I told the people to go to dinner. I'd be in there in a minute and I'd spend about an hour. I had to deal with a client. And I'm in Europe.
A very different place to be. But then how do you keep a positive attitude when it feels like I'm giving and giving and giving? Because you give a lot, whether it's the cards that you give out.
And I'm going to take something from B&I.
Okay.
Givers give. Because you will receive back tenfold.
That's it.
And that's one of the tenets or the core values of B&I. Givers give. So we give. And this is why I don't mind giving referrals and giving things out, because that's part of me, because I've given you business. They will give in return. I've never asked for it in return, but it happens. I don't know how, it just happens.
So what do you suggest to the business owner who they want to follow your strategies, they want to give, but budget's tight?
Sure.
And they're looking at the future and they've got to make their payments and they want to see growth and they want to give. And they got into business because they want to give, but they feel like they're just strapped. Their hands are tied, and the finish line is looking like it's far out there.
There's a lot of things. I mean, this costs money.
Yeah.
But you can do so many things that are on a budget. Get involved with a local charity. My passion is at-risk youth, so that's why I sit on the Police Activities League board.
Yeah.
And I want to make sure that these kids do not get involved in drugs or gangs or things like that. That's very important to me. And but I get involved with these people. Can business come back? Absolutely. I've had different law enforcement people call me. Hey, Kevin, I know you're on our PAL board. I have a house I may want to sell. Things like that. Or I've been involved in other charities or chambers. Get involved in your chamber. I love the Hispanic chamber. My gosh, they're awesome. They have the best parties, by the way.
They're quite fun. They are.
And you go and you meet other business owners there and just network. That doesn't cost anything. Go and network. Social media, get out there and post. You can go down literally, and this is something I'm going to give a little Visioneer tip for somebody.
Okay.
Create a little newsletter once a week, and it can be simple as Emily's food or restaurant pics. And every time you go down to the lunch, you take a little selfie of yourself in front of your favorite restaurant you're having lunch, and then you do a little video or something like that, or
just giving them a shout out?
Give them a shout out saying, hey, this is producer Emily from da-da-da-da-da. I happen to be at XYZ restaurant, and they have great whatever food, and you post that out. Or maybe you put that into your newsletter. I do once a month. I'll post out my favorite Bakersfield or Central Coast restaurant, and I'll write up a little write-up of that restaurant.
And then people want to open your emails.
Yes, and then of that restaurant, and then I do a wine pairing with the food that I pick. And I send that out once a month. I think I did it like 2 weeks ago. My newsletter comes out every Wednesday. And if you want to be on it, Visioneers, let me know and just email me and kevinoliver.realtor@gmail.com, and I will get you on that list.
Well, and we do actually have a question from a Visioneer in the chat that just popped up. Aaron asks, what helped you the most when you started to change your mindset about lifestyle versus a job? A certain book, podcast, etc.? What helped you change that mindset from lifestyle to job? Because it is a mindset shift.
It is a mindset.
Giving is a mindset shift.
Now, I never wanted to be a realtor, ever.
Wanted to be
I wanted to be a real estate investor.
Oh, okay.
And I am. I do. I've done tons of investing, and I still do. And there was a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. And that changed my life. That, and then there's one other book called The Rhinoceros Success.
Rhinoceros Success.
It's a little red book. It's very. I usually have one in the car. But if I do, I'll give you one.
Okay.
I think I have one in the car. But the Rich Dad Poor Dad is the one that really changed my mindset on how to think differently. And so, because there's so many people, and my wife is the same way. My wife is the opposite mindset of me. It's basically she is going to be a 9-to-5er the rest of her life. She's going to retire, and that's it. I'm the dreamer. I'm the one that's going to build bigger things, and opposites attract.
And they work well together.
I've been with her 40 years.
Yeah, well, and your creativity is really inspiring. I mean, I really hope Visioneers, if you're out there watching, you've got to take these ideas and implement them, because Kevin knows what he's talking about. So, is there anything else you want to leave Visionary Nation with before we wrap up the show?
You know what? I mean, it's just listen, your friends that you have around you, listen to I've listened to some great marketing folks, I've listened to some great branding folks, and then I listen to other business owners, and just take it in and then make it yours. Turn it and make it into your own. It's just like the pen idea. It's not a unique idea, but the unique idea is taking it and the application of it when I hand it to the waitresses or the bartenders. And they're spreading it out for me.
It's the way in which something's done.
So there's something like that. That doesn't cost anything extra.
But it's not stealing, it's
But I
recycling.
just enhance the pen.
Yes, that is wonderful. Thank you so much for being here. How can Visioneers get in touch with you?
Well, you can always get me on Instagram or Facebook. Obviously, just do a search for me, you'll find me. You can actually Google Kevin Oliver Bakersfield, and I'm the first 20 pages. Oh. But I think if you just search Kevin Oliver, I think I'm only the first couple.
Okay.
So you can get me any there or on LinkedIn. Obviously, visit our website. It's yourrealtor.us. And
Instagram and Facebook?
Instagram and Facebook. You can search for me there.
And the phone number?
661-808-3444. That's 661-808-3444.
They haven't been listening to the advertisements every week on the show.
Oh, that's right. They are on there.
Yeah. Well, and Visioneers, if you want to learn more about what we're doing, this week's main show episode was with Ray Miller from EnergyLink, which you know Ray, right?
I love Ray.
Yeah.
Ray is awesome. I remember meeting Ray, and
you introduced us to Ray for the show.
I did introduce you to Ray. Ray Miller, I call him RFM, and he is just a wonderful guy. Has great personality, big and smart.
Super.
That man is super smart. And I ain't that smart.
Well, you're very creative, and that's basically the same
I surround myself with really smart people. And Ray's one of them, and I have a lot of respect for him.
Yeah.
I love that man.
Well, and our episode with Ray was so good. We talked about the fuel of the future, which you're going to have to check that out. How to evaluate what industry to diversify into, big words for me, and what to know when you're scaling your business up, because he has scaled quite the business and he has quite the story. So with that, thank you Visioneers for being here. We'll be here next week live at 5. So feel free to tune into that and watch our episode. And with that, have a good Monday.